y'all. Welcome back to Faith and Foundations, where we talk about faith, real estate, and everything in between. So, today, this episode is very special to me because I am joined by none other than my favorite lender partners, and her name is Kia Blevins, aka the Mortgage Ninja. Don't you love that name? She's awesome, by the way. And you're about to see, because today she's going to unpack the tools and wisdom every first time home buyer needs to walk into home ownership with confidence. So she's going to kind of break down the truth about down payment assistance, and she talks a little bit about credit in this episode that I think will be very beneficial to you. So I got to leave you a scripture, Proverbs 24, verse 3. And it reminds us that by wisdom, a house is built. And today we're going to make sure your foundation is strong, informed, and faith filled.
Keisha, thank you so much for having me today. I love our partnership and the things that we have already done together. One of the things I love about you is the fact that we both have such a great passion for helping people get into their homes. There's nothing more feeling more accomplished than being a homeowner. So I appreciate you having me on here today so that we can share all of the ways that we can get some folks into their new homes.
Perfect. Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Absolutely. So one of the things I want to talk about today is down payment assistance and what does that look like? So in a market like we are in today, there are a lot of folks that they're in a position to purchase, but they may not have the down payment or the closing costs set aside. And in their minds, that's a stumbling block. But the reality is we offer a ton of down payment assistance options for buyers. Everybody has heard, most likely, about the North Carolina Housing Down Payment Assistance. I call that the gold standard for first-time homebuyers. The reason it's the gold standard is because it is a $15,000 silent second loan. Now, hear me when I say loan. So you're still borrowing that $15,000, but it is zero interest and zero payment. So the buyer is never going to owe more than $15,000. It is completely forgiven after 15 years. Most people don't keep it that long. It just becomes part of the payoff when they refinance or sell their home. Great product, great option. Most people are familiar with it, but not everybody fits that box. It's it's only for first-time home buyers. It has a cap on the debt to income ratio. There are some limitations. So we offer, yes, ma'am.
So I'm just going to interject right there. Explain to our listeners what classifies them as a first-time home buyer.
That is a great question. Most people think that is a common sense thing. It means I have never owned a home, but that is not true. So if you have owned a home in the past, but maybe it was 15 years ago, and you have not owned a primary residence in the last 3 years, you have reset your first-time home buyer status. Another thing, however, on the flip side of that, that can confuse people is if they have never been on a mortgage, but they are on the deed or the title to their primary residence, they are not a first-time home buyer. So don't get confused about, well, I've never had a mortgage. We're looking at, have you ever had ownership? And ownership can come through title, even if you're not on the mortgage. So that's important as well.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
Absolutely. So, what if someone doesn't meet those guidelines for NC housing? Then not a problem. We've got a multitude of other options for down payment assistance. The down payment assistance options outside of NC housing, we've got them for the FHA loan, conventional, VA, USDA, all of them have some sort of assistance. The biggest difference between these other down payment assistance products and that silent second loan from NC Housing is that these down payment assistance loans have a payment associated with them. All right. So some people may wonder, well, what would prevent me from getting NC Housing, and what other options do I have? Well, one of the things that can be a hard stop for the NC Housing down payment assistance is credit score. The minimum credit score for NC Housing is 640, and the buyers have to have 2 out of 3 bureaus with a 640 or higher score. So sometimes that in itself, even if they're a first-time home buyer, can prevent them from moving forward. Another hard stop sometimes with the NC Housing is it is a household income loan. So anyone who's going to be on title, we have to know their income, even if they're not on the loan, and there's an income cap. So when we have buyers that may not have that credit score or may exceed the household income or the debt to income limitations, that's when we start looking at other programs. We've got some programs with down payment assistance that will accept scores as low as 600. So the lower credit scores can still have that down payment assistance. It just becomes a repayable second. So repayable means that that's part of their mortgage payment is their primary mortgage, which is your principal and interest, insurance, taxes, private mortgage insurance if applicable, and then the second loan fee. Now, for some people, maybe they can't afford a second lien. We do have one option that has the second that is a forgivable second. So it would be forgiven under certain circumstances. Now, the interest rate for that is going to be a little bit higher, but sometimes what we have found is even though that rate is a little higher compared to the other programs, because we're eliminating that second loan payment, the overall payment ends up being better for the buyer. So we have multiple options to help folks get in their home. And the good news is that any of these down payment assistance products, they can be used for down payment or closing cost. So it can kind of go into either bucket as far as their funds for closing.
Got you. This is some great information. Kia, I do appreciate you for stopping in today to help our listeners, because I know you're an advocate for educating your buyers. So if someone does have some more questions and they would like to reach out to you, how can they find the Mortgage Ninja? And I love that name, by the way, but how can they find you?
Thank you so much. The Mortgage Ninja has been so much fun for me. I just embraced that title a few years ago, and I love it. But I'm super easy to reach, so people can call or text me on my cell phone. It is 678-234-5937. You are also welcome to visit my website to find out more about me, read some of my reviews, and you can request a phone call or go ahead and apply if you're interested. And that website is super simple as well. It is KiaTheMortgageNinja.com. And it's Kia, K-E-A. KiaTheMortgageNinja.com. Learn all about me, schedule an appointment. The only thing I can't do is help you with a carrier pigeon.
And I will say Kia is absolutely great to work with. She has helped a ton of first timers for me, and it's even great when my buyers can walk away from the table with money and don't have to bring anything to closing. So Kia has been a great help to my business, and if you are interested, I would definitely say reach out to her. So thank you again for joining Faith and Foundations podcast today, where we talk all things faith and real estate. And today we had just a special episode with my favorite mortgage ninja. I love that. I really do love that. I've been trying to tell you that. I was like, I gotta find a way to brand me, but I love the mortgage. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping in. If you have any questions, any comments about our services, please leave it in the comments. You know how to find us. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye, y'all.